Welcome to the Juvenile Universe podcast. I'm Jordon Zadorozny. David Dunham, aka Vic Malang, is a drummer, actor, comedian, visual, and electronic music artist from Hamilton, Ontario. Dave usually likes to avoid the spotlight, so I was happy he said yes when I asked him on the show to talk about his current and past projects. Over the years, Dave and I have spent a lot of time working on projects together and have become great pals along the way. Here's where we picked up. What do you think about this this whole David Lee Roth lashing out at Wolfgang Van Halen?
Oh, I haven't seen any of that. What's happening?
Oh my goodness. So, Roth has his own sort of channels on the internet, and I guess he uses YouTube as like his main sort of outlet. And, he posts all manner of coded malarkey that is, always entertaining and often baffling. I'm sure you've seen some of his updates over the years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so it sort of seemed like it came out of nowhere to a lot of people who don't pay attention closely to what's going on in Van Halen land. But all of a sudden, there's a video out, which is basically just an audio post, I think. And the original title of the video was something like, "This fucking kid." And I guess they quickly had to change it just to, because it was not getting as many views with the F-bomb. So it was like, "This whatever kid," And Dave goes off on Wolfgang about like how Wolfgang twice kicked out a woman of who was supposed to be like part of the Van Halen money management team that was there to pay the band, I think, and that Wolfie mistook her for one of Dave's troublemakers and had her ejected from not only the New York show but the LA show. And I don't know, it seemed kind of hyperbolic perhaps, but I wasn't there. And it was just this huge vitriolic sort of attack on Wolfie, and he kept saying like, "This fucking kid," and sort of making it into a sort of weird poetic spoken word diss track or something.
Yeah. I have not heard anything about any of that.
Oh, wow.
I think I was following him on Instagram. Has he been posting any of this on Instagram?
I would check YouTube. This sort of seemed to come out of nowhere to a lot of people, but there was an interview with Wolfgang maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago where he was asked about the failure of all parties involved to do a proper tribute to his father, Edward Van Halen. Wolf said, well, there are certain elements within the organization that, have made it impossible to do such a thing with their strange demands and outrageous behavior. And there are certain elements within the camp that are keeping the final Roth-led Van Halen album, A Different Kind of Truth, made in 2012, off of streaming services.
I just read that. I just read a Instagram thread post about how that's not on streaming anymore.
Okay, so that's sort of the beginning of it. I mean, not the beginning as far as like those two are concerned, but as far as like us from the outside. Yeah, and so Wolfie sort of says, well, certain elements, meaning Roth, are making this stuff impossible because Roth doesn't like the album, apparently, or something. And then so in Roth's diatribe, he alludes to the album about it being like a failure or something. And there's something like Roth's negative against the album. Apparently, though, the real story is maybe a bit more humdrum in that both, this is what I've heard, Alex and Dave agreed that it was too expensive to hire a lawyer to negotiate having that album on streaming services for the amount of money that streaming services will bring in.
Yeah.
Which is a completely valid point.
Well, that's disappointing because I don't own a physical copy of that record. I only ever had it. Oh, that's not true. I guess I would have bought it on iTunes when it came out. Yeah, I've got it somewhere then.
Yeah, I've got it on CD, and I think there's some fairly suspect album streams of it
Yeah.
that sound really squashed to me. But I mean, ugh,
I mean,
that
that's
could
disappointing that it's not on streaming because I mean, I love that album.
absolutely. I mean, I
Love
would
it.
just love for it to be there, just for easy access to be, to show friends like, hey, that album that you
Hmm.
never heard didn't suck. Remember how excited we were about it when it was coming out,
Yeah.
or you were just getting into Van Halen at that time?
Getting back into them around them. Yeah. Like from my childhood sort of love of them.
And we were working together at the old studio, the French Kiss
That's
studio
right.
downtown Pembroke.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just like becoming obsessed with them again around that time. And then,
Said
oh,
obsession culminated in
yeah.
you getting the most outrageous fucking tattoo I have ever seen
Yeah.
in the flesh in my life. Can you please describe it in excruciating detail? Dude, like, and you can attest to this. Like every year or two, I'm telling the story of this to someone, a friend, like a friend of mine that I haven't told it to, and I text you saying, "Hey, can you text me a picture of your chest?"
Yeah. So I have David Lee Roth.
And you always do in a snap. You're
Yeah.
never. And so I want you to tell me about the origins. Yes, we were all excited about the comeback of David Lee Roth, about a decade ago. And you were just as whipped up into a frenzy as I was, apparently. And just tell me what happened and how it started and how it ended and how you are so remarkably at peace with it.
Well, it's never ending. It's there forever. I, a friend of mine named Dave O'Connor, who's a tattoo artist in town, he was apprenticing at that time and said to people, like, if anybody's willing to let me tattoo them, like, rates are very cheap. I can't even remember what I paid him. It was very, very cheap, but I thought, oh, yeah, I'll get tattooed by Dave. Um, it wasn't my first tattoo. I'd been tattooed many times, but I thought, yeah, let's do it. And then I thought in my head, well, what am I going to do? And I just thought, hey, I'll get David Lee Roth. Why not? With the caption "Stay Frosty." So I
Well,
had,
but
I had
but the size and
well,
the
it's
proportion
gigantic.
of this.
Yeah, it's right. It's gigantic on the right. My right pec.
Uh,
It's pretty much all David Lee Roth, and I wanted to do a picture of classic Dave, like maybe around Van Halen 2, but Dave O'Connor insisted he found a picture of uh, Dave that's probably around like I'd say skyscraper, and he's wearing a white glove and he's
so,
giving
wait, so balding.
well, well, he's got like a big coif of hair, and he's wearing a white glove, and he's giving like an OK sign. I'm sure you could probably find the image on the internet. But Dave was new to tattooing, so it's hard to tell. He's wearing a glove. People are always like, "Why is his hand swollen?" um, and it's in many ways my favorite tattoo because it's not perfect. Like I
not
love it.
not perfect is
Yeah,
yeah.
people see it and are like, "Whoa, that's you know, it's interesting." But
When you got out of the tattoo parlor,
mm,
it didn't look like maybe what you thought it was going to look like.
no,
And okay, so at what point in the process did you realize, like, was it halfway done or was it finished or was it like, okay, he was like, it's going to get better. But tell me what was like going on and when you realized it wasn't going to be.
yeah, it wouldn't be photorealistic because Dave's style is more like the sort of like old school. Like what's the term? Like more like early 1900s up to the mid 1900s, sort of like Sailor Jerry type stuff. At least is what he was doing then. So I knew it was going to have that kind of look. I knew it wasn't going to be a photorealistic picture of Dave. But I honestly, the whole process afterwards, I didn't have a problem with it. I loved it. I think it's great. Uh, Other people see it and they don't know who it is and stuff like that. But that's I don't mind. I have no complaints. I love it. And it's a
I
crazy thing to say you have a David Lee Roth tattoo on your tit. Like,
Well, okay, so even if you know who David Lee Roth is, then as your first thought might be, oh, it better be good at least. And then
mhm.
they see it and it's sort of this, washy, cartoony, and
Yeah.
he's saying stay frosty.
Yes.
It has like a caption or it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's right
just
underneath Dave Frosty. He's giving the okay, like the okay symbol sign with his hand. Frosty is from that 2012 record because we were like listening to that every day. Um, yeah.
I I'm fascinated at how at peace you immediately and have always been about it, and I think I admire you for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean it's one tattoo amongst dozens on me now. So, you know,
That's
it just sort
true.
of
That's
fits in
true.
there. Yeah.
But the other ones are kind of sophisticated and kind of cool, aren't they?
Yeah, the rest of them are all done by this the vast majority are done by this gentleman Scott Duncan in Kincardine at a tattoo shop called Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack.
Shout out.
And yeah, he is an amazing tattoo artist. So, yeah, he's kind of done everything else. David Lee Roth on my breast is an anomaly, but I love it.
So you're in bands. You're doing mostly music. The Sons of Butcher cartoon, which is this Cartoon Network show that you were involved with two buddies from college, right? Trevor and Jay Z Barth
Yeah, and Max Smith.
and Max Smith.
Yeah.
And so you're just to talk about your name a bit, you're Dave Dunham in all these sort of musical acts, and then at a certain point, you're doing a lot of video work and you're doing a lot of artwork for me and for other people, and you're starting to record electronic music, or you've been doing that, but you're starting to release it, and then you decide to kind of go under an alias, Vic Malang.
Mhm.
What was the thinking of being anonymous instead of just blending Dave Dunham across all of these
Yeah.
different art forms?
Well, the Victor Malang stuff, 'cause, yeah, originally it was just a way to hide on Facebook. When I actually had a Facebook account, I wasn't on Facebook as David Dunham because I was kind of hiding from people a little bit.
Hmm.
So I kind of had three or four different names. I was Jason Seance for a bit. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, right. That was like
Yeah.
your gothy phase. You were kind of like,
Yeah.
didn't you look like Jerry Only or something, didn't you?
Well,
That's how I
yeah,
remember you.
my torso. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then I was Constance Byrne for a bit, and Victor Malang was just another one of these fake names that I had made up. So when it came time to I started doing my collage art, getting back oh my God, yeah, like coming up on 8 years ago I started doing that stuff. So I just wanted to have uh a pseudonym. Is that the word? Pseudonym? Yeah.
Well, it begs the
Alias.
question, what are you running from, Dave?
Well, I mean, honestly, I was hiding from Sons of Butcher fans.
Right, because okay, so let's just introduce some context. That show is sort of this wildly raucous, kind of teenage hoodlum of a show, isn't it? A
Yeah, it's
cartoon.
like it was a raunchy adult themed rock and roll cartoons slash video mix show that my friends and I kind of got, looking back now, as a total fluke. Around 2003, 2004, we got a deal with Teletoon in Montreal to make this show that Jay and Trevor and I had come up with in college. And then Max came on board as producer, and all four of us wrote it. So we got this deal to make this show. We made 26 episodes. But it was a total, like, it was not anything I'd ever planned to do. I was always in indie rock bands or math rock bands or or whatever. So the show came out and was on television, and then we got a very minor but a cult following of people who were sort of obsessed with the show. So it got canceled a couple years later, And then after that, I kind of didn't want to, I just didn't want to have anything to do with like dealing with it. It's hard to explain. I just, the tiny little taste I got of fame, if you could call it that, made me extremely, I didn't like it.
Well, it was a different kind of audience completely from your more studious artistic endeavors of like being
Yeah. And
in
just
math rock
having
bands
them, yeah.
and then starting collage art and then starting a name as a possible video director, whatever.
Yeah. It wasn't even so much like I wasn't embarrassed about the show. I just didn't want to, I didn't like dealing with people is the easiest way to
Well,
say
yeah.
it. So when it was on Facebook, I under my own name, I started to have Sons of Butcher fans who I appreciate their love of the show, but wanting to add me and maybe have this more personal relationship, and I just wasn't interested in doing that. Um, so I started going under aliases on Facebook just so I could just be on there with my friends or whatever. So Victor Malang was just one of those names. And then when it came time to start an Instagram account to share my collage art and my other things, my other endeavors, I just chose Victor or Vic Malang.
Well, I know that within my small cult following, you have a small cult following within that of being the associated visual artist with everything I've done for, maybe a decade almost.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's cool. That's great.
that's different kind of manageable fame. So Chore is your first like indie rock band.
Yeah, chore was my nowadays we call it art grunge, I guess is the best term
Well,
for
I
it.
looked it up and people were saying sort of like post-hardcore or
Post-hardcore,
something.
yeah, is the one that gets thrown out a lot.
What is that? I guess I can kind of picture that. I can kind of picture that.
Yeah, like when I think of post-hardcore, I just think of like Quicksand and Fugazi in a way, and just that sort of
Melding with like a Helmet influence, sort of.
yeah, Helmet were a huge, they're still a huge influence for me. John Stanier is my favorite drummer of all time.
I feel that their influence has sort of really been a long thread through a lot of different sub-genres of music in the last 30 years, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah, I think they were pretty. I mean, they were very successful for what they did. Page Hamilton was in like Band of Susans with Glenn, what's his face, Glenn Branca, is that how you say his name? Like that whole New York, whatever you would call that movement, post no wave in New York City. Like Page Hamilton was sort of involved in that stuff. So that early Helmet stuff is weird.
So Chore is like, you guys are similarly minded teenage friends, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And like a lot of sort of suburban scenes or small town scenes, you guys kind of are jamming in someone's parents' basement or garage
Yeah.
and then kind of putting on your own shows and then playing small clubs eventually and then eventually releasing a record.
Yeah. On Sonic Onion, the Hamilton indie label, which for us was like getting signed to a major label deal.
And the band only lasts 5 years, but and the story, if you look at it, is sort of typical of a lot of bands, that sort of peter out for various reasons at a certain
Mhm.
point. Yet there seems to be maybe not as big as Helmet, but there seems to be like a bit of a cult following for this band. From
Yeah, Chore has a definitely another very tiny but very dedicated cult following.
I feel like the people that were seeing your shows, you guys are affected those people greatly to the surprise of the band members. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely. Yeah, huge. Yeah, very surprising.
Like I remember Mitch being kind of puzzled.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he probably still is.
And Mitch, for those who don't know, was he didn't start the band with you guys, but he joined shortly after, right?
Yeah, we had put two records out with another member named Brian Pettigrew, and then we parted ways with him, and Mitch joined, and then we did one more album with Sonic Onion
And
before
that's
we
like,
broke up.
yeah. And so Mitch is singing everything at that point on the third album.
No, not everything. Pretty much like at that point, almost split evenly three ways between Chris Bell, Mitch, and myself.
You're
So
singing too, right?
yeah, like I'm like yelling. I'm like that's where we get the post-hardcore tag, probably from my like
Ah.
Fugazi rip-off vocal style.
And the influence of those drummers on your drumming.
Absolutely, yeah.
People who don't know that you're the drummer in
Mhm.
a lot of these bands. Okay, so that band happens. Then the Sons of Butcher things happens for a couple years.
Yeah, Sons of Butcher comes up right when Chore breaks up. Sons of Butcher like got the television. I think we got like the go ahead on the show to make the show, and then like a month later, Chore broke up. And so a slight overlap, and that's when Don Vale started. Mitch and I's band that we had following, and it's still an ongoing project. That was after Chore as well.
And you guys did your first record with me, and then the second one you guys did at Mitch's studio.
Yeah, and the third we recorded the majority of it in Ireland, weirdly enough, which we can
Oh,
get into
right.
later. Yeah, with Filippo and the
Well, I think that those Don Vale records are really great. And of course, Mitch is such a talent, singular
Mhm.
talent, I find. I do hope that those records eventually hit a bigger audience. They certainly deserve it.
I'm puzzled as to why they haven't. It blows my mind
Needs
because
to be in like a TV show. Like I could totally picture it in some sort of.
yeah, there's been some placement stuff for it, but yeah, I listen to those Don Vale records and I'm just, why isn't this like? I mean, I love it. I'm a huge fan. I can say that because it's very much Mitch's project that I just played drums on. So I'm a fan of the band as much as anybody else would be, and I'm just like, yeah, this is the best shit in the world.
So David's all caps was your first foray into releasing electronic music.
Yeah, that was like mostly sort of a synth pop project with some, like everything I've ever done, it just kind of goes all over the place because either I can't focus or
Hi.
or I'm high. That's yeah, I have been. Or I want to try everything, there's no, I mean, the stakes are so low.
And then you shoot a bunch of videos for me. You start doing artwork for me. You start doing artwork for other bands. You're doing videos for the Arkells, the Dirty Nil.
Yep. Yeah, I did a video for the Arkells getting over 10 years ago now. I've done
Are people still making videos in the way that they did 7 or 8 years ago?
You know what? I've kind of fallen out of the loop on video making. Mitch Barnes, who did a Blinker video for you, has kind of like he started out sort of helping me out on videos, and now it's at the point where I'm kind of asking him to let me help him make videos. So I'm out of the loop on making videos. If I had it my way, I would never make a music video again ever for any project I was involved in because it's such a pain in the neck to sort of get them done. And then when you get them on to the internet, in my experience, for the most part, no one's watching them.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is that you're not getting the bang for your buck because you're such a perfectionist, and if people look at the video you did for the Blink of the Star song "Future Fires," like I remember you going mad and bleeding from the eyes doing that
Yeah.
video, editing it,
Yeah.
and I remember showing it to Ken Andrews, and he was like, "Who edited this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's Dave. He almost lost his mind
I
doing it." He goes, "Yeah, it looks like it." He goes, "Like I don't understand who would have the patience to do this," because he kind of, as a video person, understood
yeah.
what went into it, and and then you look at the video culture today, which is, I guess, dominated by more shorter form things, and you look at the minimal amount of work necessary for a fluke viral video versus the amount of care and attention you do for something that maybe gets 10,000 views or something over 10 years.
Exactly. I mean, I'd be pumped if anything I ever made. I mean, there's been a couple things, but like if a video I made got 10,000 views, I would be over the moon, which just shows you how low my expectations are because at the end of the day, 10,000 views is like nothing.
Well, guess what? I think Future Fires is up over 15 now.
Oh, is it really?
And then you get into another, do we call it post-hardcore band called Not Of with Mr. John Crossingham?
Yeah. I guess that technically is noise rock, is what seems to be the
Noise
label.
rock. And so you guys are these two, the story is you guys are these two sort of Southern Ontario grizzled veterans of the scene, and you guys form this sort of belligerent sounding noise rock band, start putting out these like really kind of aggressive, cool, mean sounding records.
Yeah. I don't want to be in a band that's like a, get together to practice once a week in the rehearsal space and write songs that way. I'm just not interested in doing that anymore.
You like music as a solitary pursuit largely.
I love collaborating, but I love to do it over the internet now. Um, so our band Chore is almost finished recording a reunion record for Sonic Onion. That should
Wait
be
a second. Stop the presses. What?
You know that, don't you?
I thought there was something going on a couple years ago and then it fizzled, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So our friend Tony Jacome from Shallow, North Dakota, one of the greatest Canadian bands in the history of music. He unfortunately passed a couple years ago from cancer. But when we found out that he was going through this battle, everybody kind of came together, and there was a compilation record to raise funds for him, and there was a GoFundMe, and the Chore guys, who had already been jamming together, decided that we would record one of these new songs that we had had for a couple years at that point and put it out, sell it on Bandcamp, and donate the money to Tony's family, which we did. But since then, I think we have 14 songs. So we approached Tim at Sonic Onion and just said, have you any interest in putting on a new Chore record? And he said, I absolutely do.
So overall, how does it sound? Because the last record is 2002 or something.
2002, yeah.
Wow. So I mean, how does it sound in relation to that record?
Well, I think it's light years beyond as far as like
Does it sound like a different band?
No, it sounds like Chore, but like better. I mean, of course, I'm going to say that because I'm in the band, but I really think that it's going to be the best thing we ever did by light years. By light years. And it still kind of hits all the points of Chore. There's like the super melodic straight ahead stuff. There's like super demented. It's has the weirdest time signatures and parts we've ever done, but on the
Oh,
same side, it has some of the most accessible sort of poppy stuff we've ever done.
fun.
And that was always a criticism of Chore, is that you guys just sound like too many different things, but we were like, we never cared, to our own detriment. It's just a continuation of that, but I think we do all of that stuff far better. And, you know, why wouldn't we? Like that Chore broke up when I was 25, you know, and most of the songs were written before I was 23. I've had lots more experience, has everybody else in the band. Of course it's going to be better, you know?
Well, you know how this is going to work is, because you guys have accumulated this somewhat legendary status, is that, when this album comes out, it's going to eclipse all of your previous endeavors for the past 20 years. And everyone's going to want you to go on tour, Dave, and you're going to
Okay.
fucking hate it.
Yeah, the touring thing.
You're going to get chores, going to get huge. You're going to get offered to open for Dinosaur Jr. and you're going to be gone for a year and everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah, you know why I hated touring though is because we toured every touring sort of interest I've ever been in. We've played to nobody anywhere we've ever gone. If I was in a band that toured and like people came to the shows, I think I would have a different outlook on it. You know what I mean? Like memories of
Absolutely.
touring are to playing to two people if we're lucky in Saskatoon.
No, you do it all differently now, and you'd be out there. You would only go out if it made sense to go out, and then
Mhm.
once you're out there, things are cushy enough, and you're not gonna go and get wasted every night. Or
Yeah.
maybe you are. I don't
Well, I might now. No, I back then I never that wasn't really a part of our band either. No one was there wasn't really partying. I didn't start doing that kind of stuff until I was much older.
So you were a dour bunch.
We were a dour bunch, especially me. I was the dourest of them all.
See, up here, we were up here in the hinterlands. Like we were just like every show was a party for the
Yeah.
first year. Like it was such a big splash every show, and
Yeah, it was like that. It was like that for us until we started putting out records, I'd say.
uh-huh.
Once we started to think like, why aren't we bigger? Why is this happening for this band? Why is our CD not selling? Why is no one at the show? Then it became unenjoyable. And then we just decided to drag that feeling out over 4 years. But now the band's fun because we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Tim has no expectations. Like Sonic Onion is a whole other ball of yarn now too. The way that they're going to approach this record coming out and what they expect from us. It's a
Hmm.
completely different beast, which is amazing. It's like the best of everything. We had the time to record the record the way we want to record it. There was a little bit of money from them to do it. It's going to come out and we don't have to worry about going on tour across Canada for no reason. Like they don't care about that stuff. So this is the part I hate about doing podcasts or interviews. Then I just start to think about, oh, did I say the right thing? Did I say everything I wanted to say? Like all that crap.
Yeah,
I think it's going well. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
Uh,
Well, I mean, what have we not talked about? We're up to not of, which is I guess, okay, so it's, you guys aren't actively playing shows, but there's a recording in progress.
yeah, we've recorded a third record that we have to finish. And we actually just texted last week about getting together to sort of finish the recording of it, the vocals and whatnot. And you're mixing it, actually, I guess we could talk about as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Jordan's mixing our new record. I don't know when it might be out or who will release it. We've been on a label from Winnipeg called No List, a noise rock label out of that city with tons of amazing bands. We were very lucky to be a part of that. I don't know if they'll be interested in putting it out because, yeah, we're not really playing shows. But yeah, at some point there'll be a new Not Of record. And as far as but that's the thing, like John is very much he loves to be in a band. He loves band practice. He loves playing live.
Yeah, he loves that active sort of like,
Yes.
let's get together, let's hash it out. It's like fun and therapeutic for him. And then for you and
Absolutely.
me, it's like, ugh, we gotta go
No.
through this
Yeah. I am the
jamming
polar
business.
opposite of that. Yeah. I don't want to do that anymore. I love to just sit alone at the computer.
Crying.
No, no, hey, no, nothing. It's my New Year's resolution is positive Dave. It's a struggle every day, believe me. But I'd much rather make music like that. I've and John and I have discussed that. I'm trying to get him to be more receptive to like, let's try to do some stuff digitally, share files, and kind of like write stuff that way. We haven't tried, but I just don't want to like have to go to band practice every week and play shows. You know,
Yeah, screw that.
I've lost almost all interest in playing drums. Yeah, that's just where I'm at.
Yeah. And so the Vic Malang recording project also continues.
Yeah, I would say that I have probably 25 songs in various stages of completion that I'm pretty happy with everything. I can see all of them becoming something. Actually, it's funny. I just mentioned drums. I have like 7 or 8 songs that I've written to have live drums played on them. So that's
Interesting.
a bit of a departure. It's all electronic still,
Mhm.
except I'm going to want to play drums for it. So, you know, drums are still part of everything. I just don't want to have to load them in a car to go play a show. Lots of Vic Malang stuff, and that is my current like personal project that, you know, I've put out 2 EPs now that I've mixed with you, and yeah.
Yeah, and all that Vic Malang stuff is up on Bandcamp and Spotify and all the regular places.
Yeah, Vic Malang, not Victor Malang. My handle on Instagram is at Victor Malang, but the uh the alias is just Vic Malang. So yeah, you can find all that stuff online.
And all your artwork is at the Victor Malang Instagram as well.
Yep, at Victor Malang. Um, Not of has an Instagram, but it's more John's personal. Chore doesn't have an Instagram yet. We will when the record comes out. What else is there? There's a Don Vale Instagram. Yeah, just Google all this crap. You'll find it.
Yeah, Don Vale, Chore, David's,
Yeah, it's all there somewhere.
not of.
Not of. Go to my Instagram at Victor Malang and send me a message. And if you're interested in and you can't find any of this stuff, I can definitely point you in the right direction. Should we talk about how we know each other though? Like I was thinking about this today, and we've talked about this a lot, but like this summer, it will have been 19 years since the first time I was at French Kiss Studio. Isn't that crazy?
And that's when you first came up with Trevor and Jay from Sons of Butcher we were going to do the music, or we did
Yeah.
the music for the second season.
We did the music for the second season, but Trevor, that summer, this was the summer of 2005. So Sons of Butcher season 1 was going to come out that September. Anyway, on the way back from Montreal, we all stopped in to Pembroke and came up, and I recorded some vocals. I was only there for a couple hours, and then Max and I drove back. I think Jay and Trevor stayed over, but that was the very first time that you and I met. And that was the first time I was in the studio, like 19 years ago, which just blows my mind.
That summer was insane. It was like 6 weeks of work, if I remember correctly. And
Well, the next summer, that was the next summer. So in
oh,
2006,
right, yeah.
yeah, 2006, we came back to do all the music for season 2. And that's when we had you fully do everything. You recorded it, you mixed it. Trevor was up there for a couple months.
And it was, yeah, it was something like, it was like 75 songs. Most of them were under 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Some of them were full length, but it was the most bizarre, hilarious, extended session. It went over the whole summer,
Yeah.
and me kind of manning the controls. And then Trevor had this, he was having, he liked to stop work early in the day. And then it was kind of like party time.
Yeah. 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 The
Like
2 weeks that I was up there.
I was so used to working rock and roll hours, and I would forget that this is ultimately a TV job. And he'd be like, "No, no, no, man, we're done at 5. We go 11 to 5. That's plenty."
I remember like we were up there, like Jeremy. I remember one afternoon, Jeremy from Our Lady Peace was there because he was there visiting a girl in Pembroke. He was there. Do you remember that? Jeremy from Our Lady Peace being there, hanging out for a day.
Absolutely. Yep.
Then Vince from Priestess came up and played drums on 2/3 of the record. Like that was a crazy summer. And it was super fun because
Yeah.
I was already that summer not enjoying Sons of Butcher, and that trip sort of rejuvenated my enthusiasm for everything because it was so much fun. And I fell in love with Pembroke, and I've been going back ever since.
And Trevor wrote Trevor wrote a song called Pembroke Skies, which encapsulated so hilariously his whole experience
Yeah.
of that summer.
Yep. That's my favorite Sons of Butcher. That for me is the best Sons of Butcher song, Pembroke Skies.
Pembroke Skies. He has some hilarious lines in that
Yeah, the best one is
about I got drunk with cool guys under
yeah,
Pembroke Skies.
and the beer flows into wine and makes the weed centralize.
Makes the weed centralize. It's such a poetic statement
Yeah.
about the state of mind that he was in.
Yeah.
Under Pembroke skies. Pembroke skies, you've got me hypnotized. The booze flows into wine, it makes the weed centralized. Oh!
We had a pretty great video treatment for that one that we would have never been able to pull off, but we wanted to play on the roof there of French Kiss and close off the road there in front and just have like a crowd down there, like the Beatles on top of the Apple offices there.
People were trying to marry their daughters off to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, fun. I have fond memories of that little time there. That was super fun. But there's something about Pembroke, like I mean, you grew up there and you know it, but like I love driving into that town. The feeling I get when I pull into Pembroke is just like relaxation, and I don't know. I've said it before, but like music has never sounded better to me than it is at about 10:30 at night, sitting in the control room there at French Kiss and at Skylark. Those monitors you have, just sitting there and listening to music on that, like music never sounds better to me than it does when we're sitting there listening in that room.
It's
Is that
true.
weird? I don't know
true.
what it is with that.
You know what I need to do? Do you remember at the old studio, I had the record player hooked up to the studio monitors over there?
Oh, yeah.
That's where I was able to A/B things easily. Like, okay, what sounds better and what sounds bad about the digital version or whatever. And then you could like, you could set the volumes up at equal volume, and you could really quickly identify like why something sounded better or worse. And I remember I'd set it up for our beloved Secret Treaties by Blue Oyster Cult album.
Yes. Yes.
And I got you into that record. And
That's
then
right.
And then at some point I'd done a bit of that sort of sonic research, and I was like, oh my God, the pressing that I have, which I think is like an American Canadian, or sorry, an original Canadian pressing of it, and I compared it to whatever version was like readily available online, and it was a revelation how much more depth and width the mix had listening on vinyl in that particular case, because I'm not really a purist, but in that case and a few others that we listened to, it was just like I remember it sounding really, really good.
Yeah, I remember one night, speaking of listening to vinyl at French Kiss, like getting super into that Missing Persons record. You remember the night we listened to that?
Yeah.
Freaking out over Terry Bozzio's drumming on that
Oh,
record. That was a vinyl night too.
that is incredible. We got to pop that one out the next time you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, my wife Robin also has fallen in love with Pembroke, so
Yeah, it's more fun when Robin's here.
absolutely. We get less work done, but that's fine, you know?
It's partly why I like it, but I just like having Robin around.
Yeah. No, she's great. Yeah, I would much prefer if she came up there with me. So, and I got lots of new stuff to work on. It's just
Well, get on up here when it's like a little nicer and we can go outside to the Tap and Grill.
absolutely. That's my favorite pub on the planet.
It's my little tavern in the barn behind the
Yeah.
studio, and it's where we do our little cookouts and
Yep. Planning.
and CD listening out there now, and records too.
Yep.
Tell us about the podcast that you and your wife Robin have.
Yeah, so we have a podcast called Reaction Brats, which is partly named after a Guided by Voices song. And it's the same thing. We just pick a record or two records and talk about them. Or if we go see a live show, we'll run down the set list. It's sporadic, like we do it when we can. But if you want to check it out, it's called Reaction Brats. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Or the easiest thing too is just to go to our Instagram, which is at Reaction Brats Pod, POD. And yeah, there's an episode with Jordon. I think
That one was so fun. We were talking about Kiss's Unmasked album.
That's right.
And how much I really like it.
Yeah, Robin loves it too.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I like half of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out, please. Let us know what you think.
All right, Dave. Well, thank you for coming on. And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you and see you very soon. And stay frosty.
You know I will.